Madame Roy back once again. This is going to be a pretty late video. It is July 18th, 2014 on a Friday. And as you can see, it is 10:20 p.m. Now, I was cleaning my closet out the other day, and I came across something that I picked up, oh my goodness, had been about 2 or 3 years ago. And this is a game from my childhood that I have so many fond memories of. I mean, this game, I probably wasted 12, 13 hours a week playing this game when I was young, and I'm not exaggerating. And what this is the game of Simon. It's called a computer-controlled game, and yes, it is controlled by a small microcomputer, but nothing near as sophisticated as our modern games. Think fast. Simon says, repeat my flashing lights and sounds. Now, for my younger crowd, and you know, I'm 31, but for the younger crowd, they probably know this game as well because it was released recently as a small portable game. And this is portable, but the one that I'm talking about was probably about this big, and you could take it with you. You could almost put it on a keychain. As a matter of fact, I think a few of them did come with keychains. Anyway, this is produced by Milton Bradley Electronics. It says ages 7 to adult, 1 or more players. Batteries are required, not included, just like anything you would buy today. Let's see, 5 ways to play. The box is really in pretty good shape. There is some staining on it, like on this. Let me see if we can. It's on the bottom, the staining, but there's a few little stains, like right here on the words. I'll show you guys some of the artwork. It's still very, very vibrant. I'm using the Sony Hi8 camera because this tends to bring out the colors a little bit better than my Sony. I can't think tonight. It's late, everybody. My Sony camera. I see. Program Simon. Follow the signals. Simon calls your bluff. Buzz. And man, can you tell by looking at those clothes and that haircut that this is from basically the 80s. And pretty much the same thing on the front too. Now, if you look on the bottom here, this is where it has some damage. You can see that must have been where it was taped down, probably done when it was just open for the very first time. Shows you some of the things back here. I love the way it says this. I am a computer with a remarkable memory. I challenge you to repeat my ever-increasing sequences of flashing lights and electronic sounds. I have thousands of random sequences to test your powers of concentration in 3 fascinating games and 4 varying skill levels. Play solo or in groups. There are 5 fun-filled ways to play for 1 or more challengers. This was really innovative when this came out. And I did say 80s, but this one is actually the 1979 original release. They released this again in 1983. I think they just did some updates to the electronics inside. Probably just increased the processor speed and made it a little bit more, just sped it up pretty much. Now here are the 3 games you get. Game 1. This is the one that I usually play. Repeat an ever-increasing sequence of flashing lights and sounds, and you can go up to level 4 with this one. Compete against Simon yourself. For multiple play, 2 more players team up against Simon to compete against each other. So that's game 1. Game 2, player says for 1 or more players. Play by yourself, creating your own sequence of flashing lights and sounds. Select your own signals. Make the sequence as easy or as difficult as you wish. You guys can pause to read the rest, but this almost reminds me of like level editors for modern video games. So basically you can program the Simon itself and just go to town. And then game 3, choose your color. This is only for 2, 3, or 4 players. A color elimination game. 3 or 4 players are responsible for pressing assigned color lenses at certain times. So if you're playing that, you really got to trust your friends that they're as smart as you are, or at least they can memorize as well as you can. And And then down here, it's just advertising some other things. Super Simon, different version. I've actually never seen this before. I've had a couple of these original Simons, but never the Super Simon. And then something called Microvision. I'm not really sure what that is, but obviously it was another computer game put out by Milton Bradley. Let's go ahead and open the box. And as you can see in here, this is the Simon itself, but we'll get to that in just a minute. What's really cool about this is it has all of the original paperwork with it. Start with this. This is for recharge. This is actually selling you a rechargeable battery system for it. So if any of you guys are interested in what rechargeable batteries used to look like in 1979, this is it right here. Looks like it had interchanging heads for the different batteries. And as you can see, it's showing you a 9-volt battery and D batteries. Doing that for a reason. This actually requires 2 D batteries and a 9-volt to run. And I'll show you guys that in just a minute. So I can get a rebate here too if you send this in, $2 off, but I'm sure this is well expired. Next we have, looks like just a statement from Milton Bradley. Personal thanks for trying this product. And look at this, an actual warranty card from back in the day. Pretty much typical things you would see today. That's really interesting. And then of course you have the instruction booklet, and that's where I actually got the date on here. Copyright 1979 by the Milton Bradley Company. We can just look through here quick. Again, it just goes over the game preparation, how to put the batteries in. See this, what each button does, like the selector switches. The last button, I never really noticed. I'll see. When depressed at the end of the game, will play back the sequences. Okay, so basically if you lose the game or complete a game, you can push the last button, and that'll just show you what you did. Important safety information, and then of course how to play the different games. Alright. Oh, and one other thing. I did find the receipt in here, and it did come from, I believe, one of the CHKD thrift stores. And that's when I bought it. It was July 11th of 2010, so it's actually been almost 4 years. And that's what I paid, $4.18. Not bad for something on eBay that's worth about 50 bucks now. Alright, so on to the Simon itself. On top here you have the 4 colors, of course, red, blue, yellow, and green. Up here are the switches. Now this is where you select the different games. Remember, game 1 is playing against Simon. Game 2, you can input your own sequences and colors. And then of course game 3 is for multiple players, and each player is responsible for one color. There are your skill levels, 1 through 4. The last button, like I said, at the end of the game it'll show you the entire sequence of what you played. Start for starting the game. And I'm not sure what longest is. I'll have to go ahead and read that in the manual. And then of course your on and off switch. Let's go back to the manual real quick and see what this longest means. Longest button. When depressed at the end of the game, will play back the longest sequence played from the time the power was turned on. Okay. Alright, so that basically does the same thing. It's just, it just means it didn't save quite as much. Okay, so what I'm going to do, turn over to the back real quick. And this is what's kind of, like I said, is kind of interesting. I'm going to go ahead and grab the, actually we can just use my scissors. Now this down here is for the 2D batteries. This controls the lights, the speaker, and basically all of the high power drain parts in this. And as you can see, it's just regular two regular alkaline batteries. And it's not always that easy to put in. Now, this is where the 9-volt goes. Go ahead and open that up real quick. Yeah, today it would be much easier. They would have a little thing where you push it down. You wouldn't have to use something to pry it open. And again, just a regular 9-volt battery, and I actually just had to replace that the other day. Now this 9-volt battery actually controls all the computer functions. So the microcomputer, all the calculations and actually making the sequences is controlled by the 9-volt battery. And this is not the easiest to get back on, so bear with me just a second. Yeah, unfortunately the only one problem with this has kind of gotten pushed in, I think, over time. Let's see if I can get that back on. There we go. Alright, and then of course right here is the speaker on the back. There is some writing on here. I don't know if you guys can make that out. Yeah, there you go. Copyright 1978 by Milton Bradley. So obviously that's probably when they got the patent, but I don't believe these were actually released until the beginning of 1979. And here's something you guys don't see every day. Not anymore. Made in the good old USA. I can guarantee you the ones that are made today say made in China. It's really a sign of the times, unfortunately, but I guess that's progress. Alright, so lastly, I'm going to go ahead and play a quick game to show you guys. I'm only going to do the first game because that's my favorite, and it's late and I don't actually feel like programming anything in tonight. So, to activate it, we'll go to the on section, and then we'll push start. And it shows that color, so you push that down. And you just follow the pattern. Now these are actually a little harder to push because this is again one of the original models. The later ones, it was actually much easier. Like, you actually got to put some muscle into pushing this down. And I usually do better than that, but it is kind of late. Just so this video doesn't get too long and drawn out, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. A little bit different from my norm, but this is something, again, from my childhood, and I figured I really want to do a video on this. Please remember to like and subscribe. And if you like this, again, if you really like this video, go ahead and leave a comment. And remember, as always, have a blessed day, everybody.